Hello guys, in today's video we're going to check out the best camera phone of 2020. Camera phones have changed a lot over the last decade. These days, it isn't uncommon to find 1, 2, 3, or even 4 sensors packed into your smartphone, leaving many hobbyist photographers reaching for their pocket before splashing out on a separate compact or mirrorless camera. A good camera is an important factor when buying a phone. After all, this is how you're capturing your memories, and no one wants blurry, poor quality memories. Take a look at our selection of the best camera phone you can get right now, helping you narrow down your choices and find the right model. 8. Huawei P40 Pro Plus. The Huawei P40 Pro Plus is among the most multi-talented camera phones around. You get the best zoom available on any phone, a handy 18mm ultra-wide-angle lens, and a main f1.9 23mm lens that's backed up by a 50-megapixel sensor. It trumps Google's night sight mode in dark scenes by stacking several images in a longer exposure. This is limited to scenes where there's no movement or bright lights, though, and in more common low-light scenarios such as concerts, bars and nighttime cityscapes, performance doesn't stand out quite as much. The zoom on the P40 Pro Plus is unmatched, easily giving crisper images than the Oppo Find X2 Pro and S20 Ultra. It's a great all-rounder for daylight shooting, and it generally handles scenes with mixed lighting well. 7. iPhone 12 Pro Max. If you want the very best iPhone 12 camera experience, then go for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It has a larger sensor than the smaller Pro for better and quicker low-light snaps, and the extra optical zoom 2.5x as opposed to 2x gives you a bit more creative freedom. We wouldn't say the pictures are always night and day improvements over the 12 Pro or even the 12, however you can get much better snaps here, and that will likely only get more obvious when Pro RAW becomes a thing. There are benefits from having a larger phone too. The battery life is better, and the 6.7-inch display is ideal for editing snaps and using as a big viewfinder. Everything else is the same as the iPhone 12 Pro, which you can read about below. 6. iPhone 12 Pro. The iPhone 12 Pro sits just below the Pro Max in Apple's current smartphone lineup. The Pro camera's combination of fantastic photo quality and impressive versatility makes it our top choice when it comes to smartphone snappers. It's glitzier, flashier and more expensive than the iPhone 12, but, for many, the extra skills of the camera setup is seriously worth considering. Apple seriously improved its photographic output with the iPhone 11 series, and the 12 series takes that a step forward again. The iPhone 12 Pro is kitted with 3 12-megapixel cameras, including an ultra-wide-angle lens. You also get a new faster wide lens, 26mm, f1.6, and a 2x telephoto lens. There's also a lidar sensor for aiding low-light focusing. Nothing is lacking with the new HDR Dolby Vision video recording, audio and super bright XDR display. All are tremendous, and the iPhone 12 Pro is also an absolute performance beast. The A14 chipset is the fastest we've used, and it brings 5G to an iPhone for the first time. We'd have liked a fast refresh display, a screen without a notch, and for some killer zoom skills. However, the 12 Pro remains one of the most reliable camera phones around. 5. Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Samsung's second phone to sport the Ultra moniker matches its predecessor in both its lavishness and price tag. However, what it does bring to the table is a more refined take on the camera setup, including ditching the 100x space zoom. Galaxy Note 20 Ultra brings a camera setup that features a 108-megapixel main sensor, a 12-megapixel telephoto and 12-megapixel ultrawide. The combo produces strong results that our review called a huge improvement over the S20 Ultra. The setup tones down space zoom to just 50x while using a 5x optical zoom alongside it. Aside from the camera, the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra is sporting a whole lot more tricks, from a gorgeous and gargantuan 120Hz adaptive refresh rate 6.9-inch OLED display to strong performance from the Exynos 990. 4. Google Pixel 5. The Pixel 5 doesn't push the Pixel camera to new heights like we might have been expecting, however offering it at a lower price means more people can enjoy this excellent shooter. That's not to say the camera isn't any different to the Pixel 5. There's now an ultrawide, rather than a zoom, secondary sensor, which is probably the right decisions. Video capture has been improved with support for 4K 60 and portrait lighting features, giving you more control over your portraits. Where the Pixel 5 falls down to the, albeit pricier, competition is the zoom. The zoom here is completely software-based, and while the results are fine, they pale compared to a proper zoom lens. Other features include a 90Hz screen, 4000 mAh battery, 5G and a metal body. 3. Oppo Find X2 Pro. The Oppo Find X2 Pro beats both the S20 Plus and the iPhone 11 Pro when it comes to zoom thanks to the periscope lens and 13-megapixel sensor. It also outguns them with its resolution, with the phone's primary camera featuring Sony's new 12-bit IMX689 sensor with a large 1/1.4 size and 1.12 micron pixels and a 50-megapixel sensor. There's a 48-megapixel ultrawide here, too. On the front you'll find a 32-megapixel selfie camera. The Snapdragon 865 makes for a seriously fast phone, while the 120Hz QHD+ OLED is a joy to watch media on. Battery life is excellent, and the ridiculously fast 65W charging makes up for the lack of Qi wireless charging. 2. Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus rocks a total of 4 rear camera sensors, including a 12-megapixel main camera, a 64-megapixel telephoto sensor, a 12-megapixel ultrawide lens, and a 0.3-megapixel depth sensor. It's a setup that offers a lot of versatility, and thankfully Samsung has dialed down post-processing so images look more realistic and less overdone, though portrait shots were sometimes overly smooth. Autofocus was very useful and accurate too. While the processor was generally excellent with every that we threw at it, one exception was the recording of 8K video recording, but frankly, this is an endeavor that we wouldn't recommend anyway, given that it's capped at 30 FPS and even causes the phone to noticeably heat up. The only real photographic disadvantage compared to the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra is that zoom is less powerful, but we didn't find that to be a major loss by any means. 1. OnePlus 8 Pro. The cameras on OnePlus phones have come a long way in a few years, and the photographic capabilities on the OnePlus 8 Pro are up there with some of the best. Shots from the main 48MP camera are sharp and colorful, while the 48MP ultra-wide is one of the best around. There's no impressive zoom here, just a standard 3x8MP sensor, and the fourth camera is merely a color filter sensor that does very little. Elsewhere the camera is capable of 4K video at 60 FPS, and there's a 16MP camera in a small cutout on the front. Once your photos are snapped, you can view them on the stunning 6.78-inch OLED 120Hz panel. It has full support for HDR and 10-bit color, a QHD+ resolution and some motion smoothing skills. There's 5G onboard, a Snapdragon 865 keeping everything running, and a 4510 mAh battery.